Everyone. I hope there is sound. As promised, I'm done with the platform committee meeting. What a hardworking committee that is. But I promised a stream tonight. I'm going to give a few moments to build an audience. We're going to I'm speechless. This LNC leaves me speechless. Is it, you guys tell me, because I'm beginning to feel like I must be the crazy one. Is it unreasonable for members to expect that the National Committee understand their own bylaws? I mean, call me crazy, but just last week, we had the secretary who's supposed to know about things like ballots, who had no frickin' clue that the national bylaw said that email ballots satisfy previous notice. Instead, he showboated all this Robert's knowledge that had nothing to do with anything until somebody had to privately point out to him, shh, this is covered in the bylaws. Okay, I don't think I'm insane to think that the secretary should know bylaws that have to do with the job of the secretary. I don't know. Maybe that's asking too much. On a related note, I don't think it's too much to ask that regional representatives understand what the national bylaws say about regional agreements. Call me crazy, but that's kind of your job. And I say this as a former Region 1 representative. Now, admittedly, there are some areas in which our bylaws are not as clear as they could be. This isn't one of them. And I'm reading the LNC list going, oh my God. Okay. When the treasurer says something dumb about regional agreements, I'm kind of like, okay. I mean, I would hope the whole LNC knows all of our bylaws, but it doesn't affect his job performance as treasurer. Kind of like, not having a clue about previous notice when you're the secretary. It's kind of really bad. It's really bad if you're a regional representative who is supposed to be organizing or helping to organize region reformation, and you do not have a freaking clue how it works. As demonstrated today by John, I'll curse on the LNC list all I want, Phillips, and Hall Monitor Susan Hogarth, who will never, ever scold him for it. Meanwhile, Joshua does one thing she doesn't like, and she's on him like, meow. There is nobody who can pretend that this LNC gives a flying fudge about decorum with the way John Phillips has just been splattering himself, all over the place. I have never seen a group degenerate so quickly. And we still got a month to go. before we get started on talking about how Susan and John do not understand their own bylaws on their own freaking job. It's like, you had one job, people. Let me do my shameless grifting, because apparently having patrons and all of that is a huge conflict of interest. But starting a dark corporation and asking for $85,000 of the LNC money in secret, Mr. Lucchini and Ms. Ebke, nah, no conflict of interest there. Nothing to see here. Hall monitor Hogarth is silent. Oh my God. All I can tell you is when I write my book on this, I don't know if it's going to be in the political science section, in the comedy section, or in the tragedy section. But here we go. Let's look at this abortion in progress, shall we? I wanted to do my grifting first. Oh my God, I'm such a terrible grifter. All right. There's my secretary campaign GoFundMe. Someone, I don't have permission to share the name, but one of my supporters is buying the pink lanyards. So yesterday I mentioned that need. The pink lanyards are being bought. I just need to send this person the link. So I better write this down because COVID fog is real. And remember, send me your list if you want a good name badge, and I'll print them and bring them with me, no charge. This is my gift to you that has the Good Liberty Unmasked. Convention committee, I already have nearly whole delegations asking me for name tags. That's how clueless you are about how hateful your logo is viewed by the general membership. But again, I'm even hoping to bring a printer. Like, this idea has taken off so much that I just can't even believe it. I think half of the convention is going to be wearing different logos on their name badges than the convention committee is producing. And maybe the next convention committee will get a hint that it's the members that run this party. Okay. There's my Patreon, because again, this is a huge conflict of interest. But if I tried to, in the dark, get $85,000 from the party, that wouldn't be a conflict of interest. I'm glad the rules are very clear here, Mr. Lucchini and Ms. Ebke. Not that you personally were going to have that money in your pocket. It was that the corporation that you two founded, whether or not you're still on the board of directors, you claim you aren't, the fact that you founded it should have been disclosed to the LNC before you voted to give that corporation, which is unaccountable and untransparent, $85,000. No, I'm never going to let this go. Never going to give you up. Never going to let you down. Okay. And speaking of better convention logos, get your good convention Liberty Unmasked gear at tinyurl.com/Pink Flame merch. You get t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, I think, little tote bags. I ordered one because I'll have something to carry around my crap in, because I'm sure they're going to try to pawn off on me a Phantom of the Opera the bag that I don't want. All right, my grifting is done. Let's lay the backdrop here. So Region 8 signed their regional agreement. And it was 8 state chairs. One of the 8 state chairs was Andrew Cordio of Massachusetts. The leadership of, this is very similar to Delaware, which which the JC has already decided whether or not Richard Longstreth and Bess like it, that, yeah, who the chair is not determining who between two rival claimants is the actual chair is not violating the autonomy of an affiliate. So the Region 8 chairs signed with one of the contenders. That region has been formed. Something that this LNC hasn't realized because they don't know their bylaws is even if you removed Andrew Cordio from that mix, there is still 10% of the national membership who have signed a regional agreement. The minute there is a signed agreement representing undisputed 10% of the rest of the national memberships, there is a valid regional agreement. The LNC can disagree all it wants with the extra, with Andrew Cordio added. The fact is, even if the LNC carved that signature off, there is still 10%. It'd be no different than if a region were formed that had 10% and then also decided that they were going to make, the ghost of Harambe an honorary member of the region. The LNC could ignore that all at once, but it can't invalidate the regional agreement because 10% of undisputed national BSM representatives have signed an agreement and it's in place. So we're going to look at what the national bylaws say, and then we're going to look at the incompetent, incoherent ramblings on the LNC list. So let's pull up the national bylaws first. I'm doing that on another screen. Of course, I should have had it ready, but I don't pretend to be a broadcast professional. Okay. All righty. Let me share my screen here. And as always, all super chats matter. Chrome tab, bylaws. All right, they should be on the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a word search for region. Okay, any affiliate party with 10% or more of the total national party sustaining membership within affiliate parties, as determined for delegate allocation, shall be entitled to one national committee representative and one alternate for each 10% of national sustaining membership. Affiliate parties may, by mutual consent, band together to form representative regions, and each such region with an aggregate national party sustaining membership of 10% or more shall be entitled to one national committee representative and one alternate. Okay. Representative regions may be formed or dissolved once every 2 years during a period beginning in 90 days before the beginning and ending on the second day of the National Convention, and notice of new formations or dissolutions must be given in writing to the National Secretary prior to the close of the convention at which they take place. So, by the end of convention, the second day, okay, this is where our bylaws get a little weird. The deadline to form a region is the end of the second day of convention. The deadline to turn in the signed regional agreements is the end of convention. However, for all practical purposes, the deadline to form a region if the region is going to take advantage of the rooms that the National Convention Committee got for them, is actually the first day of convention. Because if I remember correctly, that's where the Convention Oversight Committee has scheduled regional caucuses. You have to have a region formed before you have the regional caucus. Otherwise, you don't know who's in the region. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing. You form the region first, and then you have a regional caucus. The regional caucus is where the regional delegates elect their LNC reps. The regional delegates do not, Susan Hogarth, how you don't know this, I have no flipping clue, do not decide on the region, because there's no regional delegates until the region has been formed. Understand? It is the regional chairs that sign a regional agreement unless the affiliate bylaws grant that authority to someone else, or says that the board needs to pass a resolution or something like that. Otherwise, it is just the chairs, but has nothing. Regional formation has nothing to do with the delegates at convention. The region is already formed at that point. Logically, if you just use your noodle, there's no other way to do it. And according to this bylaw, new regions can be formed 90 days prior to the national convention. California has already signed, and it's in effect, its new regional agreement. It's already in place. No one has disputed this. Apparently, there's some dispute in California as to when their new regional representatives are supposed to take their seats. That's California's business. I'm not getting involved in it. Traditionally, regional representatives take their seats at the same time as the rest of the LNC. But the regional agreement can specify otherwise. And it has happened in Region 4 before, which is the region which is California, that the seats changed before convention. Somebody told me that happened in 2016 with Jeff Hewitt, and I think it was Kenneth Brent Olson. They took their seats a month and a half before the national convention, because that's what their regional contract said. But typically, it's at the same time as the rest of the LNC. But it's whatever your regional agreement specifies. You do not have to have your regional caucus at the national convention. California doesn't, for instance. But traditionally, everyone else does. Okay? Clear so far? I'm going to go back to my screen here to see if there are any questions. Okay, so far none. Okay, let's go back and see where else regions are mentioned. Okay, that has to do with removal. In the event a region has not otherwise provided for the election of its national committee representation, this means the region has already been formed, then the delegates from that region, which has already been formed, shall elect its regional representative and alternate, provided there are at least 5 delegates present. Okay. They can do that at any point up to, beginning 90 days prior. The only rule is provided all delegates present from that region are given equal voice. And that is all the national bylaws say. And so it's pretty simple. Beginning 90 days prior to convention, new regions are reformed. Beginning 90 days prior, up to the end of the second day of the National Convention. When the agreement goes into effect, is by default upon the signature of everybody who signed the agreement, unless the regional agreement provides otherwise. So I want to show you something else. I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen here a second. Okay, I want to show you the Region Formation Manual. The Region Formation Manual is something that I continued on the tradition of Alicia Matson. And there ain't nobody in this world who is going to say Alicia Matson was not a great secretary. And over the years, Alicia and I used to have an ongoing battle over the regional agreement. This was when I was Region 1 representative, so of course it was of a lot of interest to me what the regional contract looked like. And it had been my position that the National Party should only say the minimum that the contract should say, but other than that, like, shouldn't give a form or anything, because it's kind of salting the soup, because it's a contract between the affiliate parties. And I thought National should Batinsky out of it. Hold on one second. The Regional Formation Manual. And I told Wayne I was only going to be 20 minutes, and I think I've been more than 20 minutes. It's taking a while to pull up. Let me just let this pull up one second, because I want to show you something. Oh my God, how long is this freaking thing going to take to pull up? Do 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 do. Okay. God, it's still going. All right, it's almost at the end. I feel like, remember AOL? You know, when you're and you're watching that little blue line, that blue loading line, and like it seemed like it would take forever. Yeah, that's what's going on right now with me trying to pull up. Here we go. All right, let me share my screen. Chrome tab. Here we go. All right, you should see my unofficial. Oh, this is the delegate allocation spot. I wanted the regional formation manual. Here I am. I pulled up the wrong thing. Let's go back here. Where is the region formation manual? I don't think I put it on Lpedia yet. Well, crap. All right, let me pull it up out of my hard drive then. 1 second. That was delegate allocations. There's a separate manual for regional formation, which, you know, the secretary, the person pretending to be LNC secretary was supposed to do this, but of course, let's just leave it at that. I did it. Let me pull up the region formation manual. Okay, now I can show you guys. Chrome tab. Right here. Okay, here it is. All right, here is the unofficial region formation manual. Okay, it tells everybody how to form their regions, where all the various percentages are. Yeah, the secretary was supposed to do all this, and the secretary has. Current regions, hold on. I want to show you guys is Sample regional agreements. This is a boilerplate agreement form prepared by the National Party. So this was prepared by a past LNC. Regions are free to use this form as is or modify to suit their needs. So here we go. This is the one prepared by the LNC. And as you can see, the signatures aren't for the signatures of all the delegates to form a region. It's one line with an attestation that I'm authorized by my state party bylaws to enter into this agreement and contractually bind my state party. This agreement shall become effective filing with the Secretary of the National Libertarian Party a number of versions of this agreement signed by states with enough National Party sustaining members to form a representative region. So, to translate that into English, the form prepared by the National Party says the minute within that 90-day window there is enough signatures of enough states representing at least 10% of National Party sustaining members, the regional agreement becomes effective that day, not at convention, that day. Of course, regions can make their own agreement. They don't have to use this boilerplate. But this is the boilerplate provided by the National Party. Here's the 2021 for Region 1. As you can tell, we didn't like the boilerplate, so we made our own. And then here's another form that's required by the National Party. Notice of region formation. Guess who signs? The state chairs, not all of the delegates. And I see a typo. I need to fix this. I'll send out version 2. And a footnote here, it still mentions 2020 convention. I will send out version 2. Oh, and Richard, who should know better because he used to be Region 1 representative, kept saying, well, Region 1 will be whatever state Colorado is in. No, the region containing Alaska is automatically Region 1. You should know that, Richard. But okay. Alrighty, but ooh, that bugs me that I didn't catch that little thing down there. See how one little tiny typo bothers me? Meanwhile, the current secretary hasn't done one email ballot correct. There's 2 that just got started. Maybe one of those will be correct. All right, now that I've shown you the receipts, okay? Let's go look at the babble on the LNC list. These are the people that are supposed to know what they're doing. All righty. Okay, there's 2 actual email discussions. We might look at both of them, but this is the one that really caught my attention. All right, so here's John Phillips talking out his ass. Sigh, missing the point. They can absolutely sign with or reject whoever the hell they want. Decorum, Mr. Phillips. Don't care, have at it. That's a real professional attitude, Mr. Phillips. We, as a body, cannot accept it as written by Mr. Ford in any official manner because Mr. Ford acknowledges a state chair of Llama. No, Mr. Phillips, unless you're claiming that excluding Llama, they don't have 10%, you are absolutely effing required by the national bylaws to accept it. I would suggest you read the freaking bylaws. No wonder you're all like on the wrong side of this Llama issue because you're acting like the tyrants in the fake board of Llama who goes, ha! The members signed a petition. We don't have to accept it. Yeah, you do. And same thing here, Mr. Phillips. Region 6, minding Region 8's business. The regional percentages, I added them up. Where's my total? Without, well, we can add them up again, but I think it's like 10.166 or something like that. Without llama. So sigh, Mr. Phillips, you are the one missing the point. And then he goes, I will also point out in my original email that we could just back burner it till convention because it doesn't go into effect till then. Wrong. By the National Party's own form, when does it go into effect? When enough state chairs to represent 10% of the national membership sign, which has already been done. So it's in effect now, you ignorant loudmouth jerk. So all of you can just keep arguing. I really don't give two shits. Decorum, Mr. Phillips. Okay. Now let me find the other email. My God, he is so ignorant. And I want to find the one where Susan said something really stupid. Okay, right here. My God. There are some things that are really complicated that I don't expect everyone to know. For instance, tonight at Platform Committee, there was a dispute and a ruling of the chair was required, in which I had to let them know that straw polls are not required under Roberts. That's a really obscure rule under Roberts. I don't expect your everyday person to know that. This type of crap we're talking about now is not obscure. You would think regional representatives would understand how regions work. Aren't you glad these are the people running the party? Okay, let's pull up the other email that is just so bad. I'm embarrassed almost for her. Right here. Susan, I don't think it matters much. Because credentialing happens before regional caucusing, it seems that whatever delegation is seated by the body will get to choose the region. That's not how this works. Susan, read the effing bylaws. My God. Am I in the Twilight Zone? How does a regional representative who's been in the party 30 years not know how this works? One last thing I want to look up. And Wayne knows that when I say 20 minutes, I mean, it's been 34, that I mean 40. Let me pull up one other thing. LNC, regions. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to find Region 8. Formation. Hold on, I'm trying to. Region 8 agreement. Why can't I find it? I've got way too many freaking emails. I showed you guys it the other night. You know what? I'm just going to have to look on the Google list. So Google Groups. I need to really clean out my email box. Something horrible. You guys just need to start yelling at me. Here we go. All right, let's pull this up. Just to, let's try to help Susan keep up. Your David James caucuses don't mean the same thing in this context. All that's meant by original caucus is original meeting. That's all that's meant by that. Okay, so you should be seeing on the screen where Pat Ford sent in the Region 8 agreement, links to agreements. So let's pull this up. These are, each state signed their own copy, which is kind of how it works. So let's just take a look at the wording. And there's the states, says the duties of the regional representative upon the commitment of enough state affiliate. Let me pull this right here so you can see. Upon the commitment of enough state affiliates to constitute a minimum of 10% of the total sustaining membership of the Libertarian Party, this agreement shall be considered valid. So, Susan, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. When was this? Oh, so when was this turned in? On April 25th. So as of April 25th, the new region is formed. Both the national bylaws say that, and their regional agreement says this. And how LNC members are sitting here just expounding on the LNC list about things they're utterly ignorant of, that are the basics of their jobs, is the height of incompetence. You could almost excuse this if this was the beginning of the term, where you had some brand new people. But this is the end of the freaking term. And you're talking about regional representatives that are supposed to be reorganizing their regions right now. They don't know what the hell they're doing. To answer James Gentleman's question, so does each region need to reform before convention, or does the same agreement remain in force if no action is taken? If no action is taken, the region is dissolved. So yes, regions must reform, either with new members, same members, whatever it might be, every 2 years. So, yeah, you might want to check with your state. I can tell you Colorado's already on theirs. Like, when I say on it, I don't mean they've signed one. They're working with states and deciding what they want to do. We've been working on this a while. Not that Lucchini has done anything to facilitate this. Guess who's done stuff to facilitate it? The former, how many formers ago? I was regional representative in 2016. So the former Region 1 representative is the one doing it, because our current regional representatives are utterly incompetent too. At least they're not showing off their incompetence on the LNC list. While part of these videos is just for me to just let off steam that we're being ran by incompetent people, the more important part of these videos is educating you, because you guys cannot exercise your power if you don't understand the rules. And you can't count on the LNC to understand them, because they quite obviously don't. And some of you guys who are in chat right now, you are future regional representatives. So I hope you found this information educational, because there are future LNC members watching this, and just regular party members who, Justin, you know you want to be regional again. And Justin O'Donnell, by the way, wrote to the LNC, schooling them too on the same information I'm giving you here, just in a lot less long-winded fashion. I gave a little bit more details because I bet you knew, Justin, they wouldn't get past the first 2 sentences of your email anyway. If this wasn't my party, I'd be laughing my ass off. If this was the Republicans or the Democrats, I'd be laughing. But I want to cry right now because I give over 40 hours a week to this party. I've given a lot of money to this party. And these are the buffoons that are running it. Like I said, when FU Bill Weld was nominated as our vice presidential candidate, what I said to the assembled delegates was, how about we nominate somebody who read the platform more than 2 weeks ago? By analogy, can we please elect people to the LNC that understand the bylaws and maybe have read them? Oh, I didn't notice that, Justin. You are a sly devil. All right, everyone. I promised Wayne I'd be back downstairs 20 minutes ago. He knew I was underestimating. Bye-bye, everyone. Now you know more about regional agreements and region formations than at least Susan Hogarth and Justin O'Donnell. I mean, not Justin O'Donnell. I'm sorry. I was looking at your name. Oh my God. Forgive me, Justin, for I have sinned. I confused you and John Phillips. I give you a free punch. You have my consent. You have my consent. Oh my God. Let me reword that. So now you guys know more about regions and regional agreements than Susan Hogarth and John Phillips. I know that's not a high bar, but there you go.